If guys that actually earn a living playing guitar don't waste their time on boring exercises, why should you? So we're gonna look at a few of my favorite axemen, what they do, why they do it, and how you can bring it home. Let's go. Why is Marty Friedman more famous than Tom Quayle or Alex Hutchings? Nope, it's not because he does cooking shows in Japan. Now, Tom and Alex, they both play very clever music and do stuff that Marty cannot. But endless hours of exercise lead to one thing, being really good at playing those, and hopefully being able to teach how to play those. It doesn't guarantee that you're gonna write and play memorable music. But Marty does play memorable music. Over the years, I've heard him many times say that he doesn't like to practice. For him, playing live is the ultimate practice because you can't mess up. And it is true because if you get a gig, you need to get ready. So you need to practice these songs 100 times. Now, is it practice? Yeah, but it's not exercise. It's music. When the pandemic hit, I had been playing in a band for 5 years, and I was at my all-time best, technique-wise. And I wasn't running scales or triads all the time. I was writing songs and solos and practicing the shit out of them. And I actually remember when I noticed that I was at my all-time best because I was improvising something and thinking about running a risky lick, you know, something, the kind of lick that you're not sure you're gonna land, but you just say, fuck it, just go for it, right? And to my surprise, I would land that. And I would look at my bandmates, they'd be laughing like, holy shit, yeah, you did that. And when you're in a band, that sense of urgency, these deadlines, when the band says, we're gonna know this song by next Sunday, this is where the magic happens. You wanna learn blues? Get a blues gig. Even if it's just for one show, you won't believe how much you improve. Now, that one actually surprised me. I would have thought that Guthrie was an exercise demon, right? I first heard about him in around 2002 through Guitar Techniques magazine, and he wrote some of my favorite columns in there. And one thing that I noticed over the years, he can play everything. And I'm not talking about techniques. From theme songs like The Simpsons or Beverly Hills Cop, the old Nokia cell phone ringtone, or Joe Satriani classic tracks, he knows them all. And it makes so much sense, right? Because we're playing a musical instrument. And we like to complicate things with a bunch of exercise to make sure that our fingers are ready to play every combination possible, but it's all about music, and that's it. You want to practice alternate picking? Why not learn an Yngwie song? You want to learn some cool chord progression? Play along with Sweeney Todd. You'll be surprised. A lot of cinematic music has very cool and fresh ideas that you won't heard on the radio. If there's a lick or a theme song that you like, learn it today. You know, last week I learned the cool lick from Cold as Ice. I've loved that lick for years, and well, now I can play it and it makes me smile every time. Now here's a trick I learned from Steve Vai and Steve Morse. If you don't know who Steve Morse is, he's John Petrucci's hero. That should mean something. I'm a huge fan of soloing over a backing track or an actual song. It is practicing, but it's not exercise. It's music. If I would say I'd practice, but only using these 3 notes. And I'm not saying he would play E, G, and B all over the neck. No, these 3 notes. He'd play those for an hour, 2 hours, maybe more because Steve Vai is crazy. But what happens is that when you play that for an extended period of time, until you think you've played everything, now you start to really come up with new shit. Vai has done this with many aspects of his playing, like bending, vibrato, and for that reason I think he's one of the most unique guitar players out there. Steve Morse has a different approach. He would say, I'm gonna play over this track but only using 2 strings. Let's say 2nd and 4th. Or he'd say, you know what, I'm actually not that comfortable playing in position 5 of the pentatonic. So I'm gonna only play in position 5. The goal is to get yourself out of that comfort zone. You stick to it, eventually you will get more comfortable, but more importantly, you're gonna start creating something new. John Mayer can sing, play, and compose like a boss. So when he talks, I listen, and I once heard him say, practice playing the music that's in your head. And I've had so many guys come up to me and say, I don't know how to play lead. I know where the notes are, but I can't seem to arrange them into a lick or a lead that I like. And when I heard John say that, the music in your head, I thought, this is it. This is why these guys are struggling to play lead. And one way to do that is by singing the notes you want to play. A few tips to practice this. Pick a chord and a note that's in the middle of your vocal range. Let's say that C minor here. And that third is a very safe place to start the melody. When I do this, I let my voice lead the way and the guitar follows. It's normal if you can't do both, play and sing at the same time in the beginning. Don't worry about it. When you want things to change, and this is where the magic happens, you introduce another chord in there, right? If you want to push things a little further, I like to let the melody dictates which chord I'm gonna play next, right? Let's pick this D for example. Well, this D can be a root in a D chord. So it's a 1, could be a 2, right? Could be a minor third. This is a minor third. Major third. Could be a 4. Could be a 5. Could be a 6. Could be a minor 7. Major 7. And then we're back to 1. So if I land on that D, doesn't have to be a D, right? Could be anything else. Doesn't have to be in the scale that I'm at right now. Don't be scared to try everything and mess a few notes. You're playing all alone in your room, it doesn't matter. When you're comfortable enough to try shit and miss, good things happen. If you follow any of Tim's socials, you've seen him play crazy licks over Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber. So you know that he practices some of what we preach today, right? He focuses on music. But I can already hear you say, but Raph, I'm gonna have to practice techniques at sometimes, especially if I want to play Polyphia, right? And you're right, sometimes you need to work on a flaw in your playing or to practice a specific technique for a song. Yeah, when Tim decided to learn thumping the way Tosin Abasi does it, he couldn't just buy a course online. Nobody was teaching that shit, it was too new. So he composed a song for himself to practice this, like a 4-chord song where he would just thump all the way through. Now, I'm not gonna try to play that, I don't play that crap. When you do this, you're forced to make things interesting and musical. If I wanted to write a song to practice alternate picking, I could have just run scales all over the neck. It's not a song. I have to make this musical. Challenge of the week. Pick a technique you've been meaning to learn from a while and write a song to practice this. Make it musical. The scarier, the better. If you've been struggling with the Locrian mode, then write the best Locrian riff ever. If you don't know the mode's first position, how they relate to the minor and major scales, this video will show you how. Guys, I appreciate you watching the whole thing. Cheers.